Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sportsbook Review. It's April 11th. This is the Puckheads, and the NHL playoffs are here. I'm talking once again with my buddy out in Las Vegas, Dana Lane, and we're going to go ahead and break down the conference quarterfinal matchups. Dana, first and foremost, here we go, buddy. It's good to have you back with us. It's playoff time. This is one NHL season that absolutely flew by. Any thoughts on what's going on with these quarterfinals? And let's break it down.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. It is unbelievable. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday, how I feel like we just started talking about the regular season and who we thought was going to win the Stanley Cup. And here we are already staring at the face of the playoffs. So these things go by fast.
They sure do. Sure do. We've got several matchups. You know, you got New York Rangers against Montreal. Montreal owned them during the season 3-0. Boston's playing Ottawa. I don't know how Boston can lose that because they've beat them 4 times this year out of 4. And then you're looking at a few others that there's a few that are close, but you've got Chicago facing Nashville. You've got Calgary facing Anaheim. Those matches weren't even close during the year. Do you think there's any way possible that teams like, the Rangers or Ottawa could possibly somehow, some way pull an upset?
Well, I will say this, Mike. With the Ottawa-Boston series, that's flipped. Ottawa beat Boston 4 straight this season, so it's a big surprise to me when this series price comes out and Boston is $1.75 favorite over the Ottawa Senators. That to me is that's the most shocking of all the prices that I've seen, because I think Ottawa is going to be more physical than Boston. When the Bruins' most physical player is David Backes, I think Ottawa has a real edge there. I do think it's going to be the closest of all the series. But I think in the end, I think Ottawa gets this done. And certainly there's nothing during the regular season that would lead me to believe that anything would happen differently in the playoffs.
Exactly. That line, I was scratching my head also because I may have misspoke that. Yeah, Ottawa did win 4 times this year. But this is that one series, Boston and Ottawa, that I think they should just cancel. That's my opinion. I don't think either of these teams will do any damage going any further. But somebody's got to be in the playoffs because they have the certain amount of teams. But with that being said, you look at a Columbus and Pittsburgh. I think that's a real intriguing matchup. You've had a really, really good eye on Pittsburgh this year throughout the season. What are your thoughts on that? And, Columbus, who you also have had a good eye on, Dana, is there any way Columbus may be able to pull this thing off?
Well, I don't think so, Mike, because as you know, I've been on the Pittsburgh Penguin bandwagon for quite a long time. And if you look at the Penguins' injury situation, it certainly is a little bit better than it was 3 to 4 weeks ago, even though that we know that Chris Letang is going to be out for the playoffs for the Penguins. And everybody's making a big deal of that, and rightfully so. But I think the Penguins are going to do what they've done all season. They're going to have guys like Trevor Daley and Justin Schultz and Hainsey step up. That's why they went out and got Hainsey. I mean, they're going to be a little bit more physical, and I think they're going certainly they rely on Letang quite a bit. But this is not new territory for the Penguins. They've had to overcome adversity all season. I just think that they have Columbus's number. They have the experience, which Columbus does not have. And I just think that even though Letang is out, I think they're better defensively, and certainly they're better offensively when they have arguably the best player in the world on their team.
Now, in the San Jose-Edmonton series, I'm pulling for Edmonton as a fan. I like to see them back in the playoffs. San Jose has that experience. Do you think Edmonton can keep the momentum going and possibly, capture this series?
Absolutely. I think Edmonton's going to go extremely deep in the Western Conference this year. And again, I think when your best players are going to be your best players. And aside from what Ovechkin does seemingly year after year with the Capitals, I really believe in Connor McDavid. I really feel like he is going to be handed the torch, if you will, from Sidney Crosby very soon. And it's easy to say, well, if we stop Connor McDavid, we stop the Edmonton Oilers, which is somewhat true. But stopping Connor McDavid is another task. And certainly the San Jose Sharks limp into the playoffs, going 4-9 4-9 in their last 13 games. This to me looks like a Sharks team that is tired. And keep in mind, they have played deep, and they played deep into last season, and now they were asked to go to training camp 2 months after that. It is looking like it's wearing on them a little bit. Edmonton is 26-3 in their own division this season. I like the Oilers to go on in this series in 6.
Yes, and I do too. I feel like they've cashed a lot of tickets for me this year, and I think rightfully so. St. Louis and Minnesota, you and I both have had a good call on Minnesota last year towards the end and going into this year. What's going on with this series, and is Minnesota going to hold the edge because of home ice advantage?
Mike, I still like Minnesota a lot. A lot of people say, well, Devin Dubnyk hasn't been the same. Well, maybe not, but he has. If you look at his recent form, and yes, I know he's played Colorado twice, and I know that the schedule hasn't been that difficult. But when you're in a slump, everybody is a difficult team to play against. And this is a guy that has not lost since the 23rd of March. The other thing I want to say is, we talk about what your stars have to be stars. I still need a guy like Tarasenko to say, okay, guys, it's playoff time. I need you to get on my back, and I'm going to carry you through. And I just, that was one of the problems with him and Ken Hitchcock last year, that even though he led the team in scoring, I don't think Hitchcock thought that Tarasenko had a willingness to go in the corner and play grinded out hockey, win puck battles, get greasy goals in front of the net. Let's see if after another year of Tarasenko, if he has matured, and see if he elevates his game, which is what the playoffs are about. Everybody has to elevate their game, and the teams that elevate their game to another level are the teams that win cups. I think Minnesota wins this series, and I don't think, even though their record has not been as good as their regular season record in the last month, statistically, they're still as good as they were, and are still getting a bunch of pucks to the net. They're just not getting guys to push it over the line like they did early on. I still like Minnesota, and I like them in 6 games against St. Louis.
All right, now with ones, when you talk about teams that rise to the occasion, can possibly the Toronto Maple Leafs rise to the occasion and knock off Washington, who is a squad I think will maybe win this series and maybe another, but I don't see Washington going too deep. I see a lot of the same pattern that has, played out the last few years. What are your thoughts on the Maple Leafs facing the Capitals?
Clearly experience versus first-timers. The Washington Capitals are a better team than Toronto. We might be saying something different next year, because I think both Toronto and Boston are going to be teams to be reckoned with next season. But this is clearly a team that has the experience. And again, here's Ovechkin, another opportunity to show that he can lead a team to a Stanley Cup win. I think Washington is better defensively. I will take Braden Holtby over Anderson any day of the week. And if you look at them over the last month, and I like to see, okay, has a team dropped off over the last 30 days or so versus what they've done all season? The Washington Capitals have not dropped off one bit. I think they're peaking at the right time, and I'm taking the Capitals quite easily over Toronto.
Okay. Now, in the Calgary-Anaheim series, what are your thoughts on this? This was, Anaheim held the advantage throughout the year, and it seems like they have the playoff experience. Do you think Calgary has any shot in coming in here and possibly getting an upset?
Well, as much as I like Glenn Gulletson and I wish him the best, the former Las Vegas Wrangler ECHL coach, I just think Anaheim is on a roll right now. And we kind of look at teams that go from the regular season to the playoff season, and what team is on a roll, what team is playing well. And we remember last year the focus was so much on the Washington Capitals, and then the Pittsburgh Penguins rolled right into the playoffs as the hottest team and rode that all the way to the Stanley Cup. The Anaheim Ducks are the hottest team in the league right now, Mike. They're 11-0-3 in their last 14 games. So if you believe in teams that are hot and riding them all the way to the end, the the Anaheim Ducks as your team. I do worry about them a little bit defensively. Of course, they lost Cam Fowler, but I think in this particular series, they're better than Calgary, and I think they win the series in 6.
I couldn't agree more. I think Anaheim's going to light it up early. All right, viewers, tune in tomorrow because we're going to be giving our official picks starting tomorrow as they drop the pucks for playoffs, and then we're also going to come to you Thursday morning. So we're picking up our coverage on NHL to help you cash those tickets. Dana, as always, thank you so much for being a part of this. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Let's get it done. Let's cash some tickets this NHL playoff season.
No, Mike, I appreciate your time, and I'm very excited for the playoffs. The only problem is there's no hockey tonight, so I'll have to spend time with the family tonight.
All right, Dana, talk to you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.